Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of our podcast. Today, we're going to dive into a topic that's both fascinating and practical, especially for those of you who are passionate about photography or just love to play around with lights in your outdoor spaces. We're talking about creative lighting techniques, specifically focusing on how to illuminate your landscape after the sun goes down. Now, you might be wondering, why is lighting so important? Well, lighting is the key to creating mood, highlighting important features, and bringing life to your landscape even when it's dark. It's not just about visibility, but also about creating an atmosphere, a certain vibe that can transform your outdoor space into a magical, enchanting place. So let's start with the basics. The first thing you need to consider when planning your landscape lighting is what you want to highlight. Do you have a beautiful tree or a water feature that you want to stand out? Or maybe you want to create a path of light leading to your front door. Identifying these key features will help you decide where to place your lights and what type of lights to use. Now let's talk about different types of lights. There are many options available, from solar lights and LED lights to traditional incandescent bulbs. Each type of light has its own characteristics and uses. For example, solar lights are great for areas that receive a lot of sunlight during the day, while LED lights are energy efficient and last longer than traditional bulbs. One of the most popular and effective lighting techniques is uplighting. This involves placing lights at ground level and pointing them upwards to highlight a particular feature, like a tree or a statue. Uplighting can create dramatic shadows and give your landscape a sense of depth and dimension. Downlighting, on the other hand, is when lights are placed above and the light is directed downwards. This technique is often used to mimic natural light, like moonlight. It's perfect for creating a soft, romantic atmosphere in your garden. Cross-lighting is another interesting technique. It involves placing lights on either side of an object to highlight its texture and shape. This technique works well with architectural features like walls or columns, as well as with trees and plants. Now let's move on to something a bit more advanced. Have you ever heard of shadowing? This technique involves placing a light in front of an object to cast a shadow on a surface behind it. The result can be quite dramatic and artistic, especially when used with plants that have interesting shapes. Another advanced technique is silhouetting. This involves placing a light behind an object and pointing it towards a wall or other flat surface. The object is then seen as a dark silhouette against a light background. This technique can create a stunning visual effect, especially when used with statues or other sculptural elements. But remember, when it comes to landscape lighting, less is often more. You don't want to overdo it and end up with a landscape that looks like a Christmas tree. The goal is to create a subtle, sophisticated look that enhances the beauty of your landscape, not overpower it. And finally, don't forget about safety. Make sure all your lights are properly installed and waterproof, especially if they're near a pool or other water feature. And always turn off your lights when they're not in use to save energy and prolong the life of your bulbs. So there you have it, folks. A quick guide to creative lighting techniques for your landscape. I hope you found this episode helpful and inspiring. Remember, lighting is an art, and like any art, it requires practice and experimentation. So don't be afraid to try different techniques and see what works best for your space. Thank you for tuning in, and until next time, keep exploring, keep experimenting, and keep illuminating your world.